how's everybody doing? Oh my God, this room is dead. I'm sorry. We're trying to wake you up a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little bit of story. So these are my slides. These are my slides. So my son was born 8 weeks ago. I have my wife and I, we have 2 kids under 2 now. And yeah, my first day back at work, I've been out of work for 8 weeks. My first day back was on Thursday. And my first thought was, holy shit, I don't have slides for my talk on Tuesday. So I emailed the event, and they said, well, you don't need slides. And I said, well, this is perfect. So I'm going to talk you through, so basically while I was out, it's the longest time I've been able to unplug and drift in 4 years. And while I was out, I did a little bit of reflection. I completely unplugged, no Slack, no email. It was incredible. And I got to reflect back a little bit on kind of our journey at Drift and how we've grown. We've built an amazing brand that I'm super proud of, and we've become one of the fastest growing SaaS companies of all time. And so I kind of wanted to think through, like, what are the ingredients there? Because a lot of people ask us, how do we do marketing? And it seems like the way you guys do marketing is different than other people. So I came up with this list, and this is the list that I want to talk through today. This is the first time I've ever shared this publicly, and I thought this would just be a fun format to just kind of take you through my list. If you get 1 or 2 new ideas out of this, or 1 tweetable thing, that would make me happy and that would be successful. And we have a couple minutes to do it. So these are my 10 commandments for modern marketing, right? The key word there is modern. Not 10 commandments for marketing, because we know about marketing funnels and metrics and all that stuff. But this is, I think, the key 10 things that you need for the next generation of marketing if you want to grow your business and grow your revenue. Okay, so I'm going to fly through these. I'll be around after, or just happy to connect. And if you email me, my email is dg@hello.drift.com. If you email that, I'll send you these, like the actual presentation of this and a bunch of other stuff, okay? Is there an order? No, these are all just kind of, they are kind of back-weighted. The last 3 are my favorite, although I do this thing when I speak a lot, which is like, okay, the next one is my favorite. And then I'm like, oh, shoot, I just said that. Last one was my favorite. So I'm going to take you through these, okay? So number 1, it's never too early to start marketing, ever, right? There's a building going up in the neighborhood that I live in. The building's not going to be up for 4 more years, and there's already a sign you can buy a property there now, right? But for some reason with our marketing, we're often so hesitant, well, that new product isn't out for 6 more months. We can't tell people about it. Marketing is too hard today. There's too much noise out there. There's too much competition in any other industry. Marketing is too hard to think that you're just going to show up one day and be like, our new product is here. It's time for you to buy it, right? So I want to start marketing any product, any service, any business as soon as I can. So the best time for me to start marketing, my advice to you, is start marketing yesterday. As soon as you can start marketing, do it. Number 2 is you must build an audience. Marketers have known this forever, right? You've always tried to build an email list. The difference is that today, you have to build an audience and do it in a way that has nothing to do with your product or service, right? I'm not going to join your Slack group if you're just going to try to sell me your product in that Slack group. I'm not going to listen to your podcast, right, if you're just going to try to sell me your product on that podcast. We are all people. This is how we all behave and communicate online. This is what we expect from companies. And so as a marketer, the best thing you can do is try to build an audience of people that are kind of related to your business. So if you're selling marketing software to marketers, don't try to sell your product, but maybe you create the community that's all about marketing education and growing your career. Start a YouTube channel, start a podcast. Number 3, you have to use social proof every time you do anything in marketing. How many people use social proof in their marketing today? Okay, that should be, everybody's hand has to go up. The reason why you need to use social proof today is because nobody wants to be sold to, right? But we all want to see, especially in this room, right, a bunch of marketing, sales, revenue people. I want to know what other people just like me are using and buying. The difference is marketers have always used case studies, except I actually think that everybody's bullshit meter is much higher. And so if a company publishes a case study today, I actually don't believe it. Because I'm a marketer, I know how that case study got written, right? Somebody like me wrote the whole thing, and then I sent it over to the customer. I said, will you approve this, right? That's how most of us do case studies. The best thing you can do for social proof today is use people's actual words. Screenshots of what they said on G2 Crowd and Trust Radius and Capterra. Things they said on Twitter and LinkedIn. Those are the best things. So if you go to a page that we have, if you go to drift.com/love, scroll down to the bottom, that page has probably 500 tweets on it. And it's just what people have said about Drift. That, to me, is the best social proof that we could have for our business. It's better than any case study that we're going to write because it's what somebody actually said. Number 4 is copywriting is everything. This is my most like, I could talk about this. If you gave me 6 hours, I could talk to you about copywriting for 6 hours. Copywriting is the most important thing in marketing, and yet every marketer that I meet, I interview, I talk to, I spend time with today, we all are obsessed with becoming technical marketers. We want to spend all of our time in Google Analytics, in Salesforce, in spreadsheets, doing all that stuff, when we haven't learned the fundamentals of copywriting. Copywriting is so powerful, especially as a marketer, because copywriting gives you the ability to sell without ever having to pick up the phone. That sounds pretty good. I hate talking on the phone, right? So if you can sell through your words, you can do everything. So push your team, push yourself, understand copywriting, and there's so many things inside of copywriting. Social psychology, all the principles of human behavior are all buried in there. Learn copywriting. That's going to be the single best thing you can do for your marketing today. And by the way, this has been true since the beginning of time. One of my favorite copywriting books is called Scientific Advertising. Anybody read it? Good. I'm going to sound really freaking smart then. It was written in 1923. You know how old I was in 1923? Okay? It was written in 1923, and if you read that book, it's 100 pages, and it's still more relevant than ever today because all the copywriting lessons are all about people. And while tools and technology will always change, we will never change. We have never changed. We are all people. So understand copywriting. Number 5, there's a story behind everything. I actually think there's no boring products. There's only boring marketers. I promise you that I could tell any story about your product. And so you have to think about what is the story behind this product. This piece of paper, what's the story behind this paper? It's a guy who didn't make slides, and so he wrote because his kid was born. Like, there's a story behind everything, right? You have to find what the story is for your business and your product. Humans are wired to remember stories. Telling a story is your best chance to earn the right to have a conversation with somebody about your business. Number 6, it won't stick unless you name it. This is something that I've learned so many times because I haven't done it. We've came up with an interesting concept, a framework or something, and then we just wrote about it, but we didn't actually name it. If you can name everything as a marketer, people are going to remember almost everything that you do. So I'll give you an example. We have a podcast that our CEO does, and he shared some interesting framework. We just decided to name it. We're going to call this the Spotlight Framework. I don't know what the hell that means, but we just named it. The Spotlight Framework is about spotlighting something. People will now email us and say, hey, I read David Cancel's Spotlight Framework post, and just because we named it, right? Think about how that conversation would go if we had no name. So on that podcast, episode 100, like, it's way different. Name it. We have a podcast, we named it. We have an event, we named it. We have an internal webinar series, we named it. Name everything. It's the easiest thing you can do as a marketer, but my advice for telling you to name something sounds obvious, but here's where most marketers get stuck. They get stuck on what the name is going to be. How many times have you spent weeks inside of your company debating about what a name should be? Right? That's the only one guy brave enough to raise his hand. But come on, we do it all the time, right? So you just have to pick a name and go. At Drift, we created the category of conversational marketing. I can tell you that for a year, we argued about the name. Conversation-driven marketing, conversational selling and marketing. One day we just said, you know what, we just have to pick one and start telling the market about it. And now everybody's like, of course, I love conversational marketing. That's only because we picked a name and we went with it, right? Pick a name and go. Number 7, you have to stand for something as a brand today, right? It's 2019. Look at what's happening in the world. Look what's happening in politics. If your company doesn't stand for something, people are not going to buy from you, right? And standing for something can be the biggest differentiator for you against your competitors. I'm going to give you 2 examples of this, right? One is more on the political spectrum. One is a little bit easier. So number 1 is Salesforce, okay? Mark Benioff decided to ban companies that manufacture assault rifles or something related to that as customers of Salesforce. We can argue about politics some other time. However, that was a great move from a company positioning standpoint because they said, we are for these people and not for these people. Did he piss some people off? Sure. But ultimately, that brand stands for something. I'll use an example for us from Drift that has nothing to do with politics. We stood for something. We decided to say, we're going to have an enemy. We have a shared enemy at this company. Our shared enemy is forms, is lead forms. Marketers from all over were like, thank God somebody finally is getting rid of lead forms, right? You have to pick a side. Like, people want to work with businesses that have some type of cause. It doesn't always have to be political. If you can pick a side in your business, do it. 10 years ago, most companies were too afraid to do that. Today, I think it's table stakes for running a business. Number 8, okay, you asked about my 3 favorite. These are my last 3, 8, 9, 10, okay? Creativity is a competitive advantage. Here's what I mean by that. It's 2019. Marketing technology is table stakes, right? If you're hiring people into your company that don't know how to use Google Analytics, Drift, HubSpot, Marketo, Salesforce, spreadsheet, can VLOOKUP this and that, right? That's basics. That's 101 marketing today. So every company in the world is going to be using marketing technology and sales technology to grow their business. So the differentiator is not that you have some tech stack that somebody else has. It's going to be creativity, right? Creativity is that key ingredient. Creativity is the variable for success today. And think about what's going to happen to our jobs in sales and marketing in the future. Robots are going to replace a lot of what we're doing, right? Especially on the demand gen and ops side. The one thing that AI and robots and machines are not going to replace is creativity. So the more you can be creative in your marketing, the more you're going to be able to stand out and start conversations. Creativity is what wins attention today. Number 9 is personal brand is the new company brand. This is the one that makes people the most uncomfortable. Because the number one thing people ask, if we talk about personal branding, is they say, well, but Dave, if I have somebody at my company who has a strong personal brand, aren't recruiters just trying to get that person to leave? And then what if everybody has that brand and then they leave my company? Or what if the people inside my company say things that aren't reflective of our brand? I don't know what to tell you. That is the risk that you have to run, right? People today are too afraid of what could happen if their employees have a personal brand than they are to actually get the rewards, right? You don't get to go, let me give you an example. Lyft, right? Lyft is how you get a cab today. If I go outside of this casino type place that we're at today, at the end of the day, and I just go like this, am I going to get a cab? No. Am I going to get an Uber? No. I have to use my phone. I have to download an app. It's a fundamentally different way of thinking about an app, right? This is a fundamentally different way of thinking about business. Your employees, the people that work at your company, right? As people today, we all want to work with real people. We don't want to work with logos. That was maybe 10, 20 years ago. Today, we want to work with real people. The best thing you can do is empower the people inside of your company to be your brand. Let them make videos. Let them share content on social, right? That's the best thing you can do to grow our brand. One amazing thing that we've done at Drift, we now have 300 people at the company. Any product launch we do, any announcement we make, I can guarantee that about 200 people are going to make videos and post stuff on social media just because we asked them to. And we don't care what the message is because we know they're at the company every day. They're living and breathing this thing. We trust them to say things that are going to be reflective of who we are as a brand. And that's the best thing that we've done as a company is give our people that work at the company the power to be the face of the brand. Last one, this is the most important piece of marketing advice, I think, for 2019 and beyond, is that when they go left, meaning your competitors and everybody else in your industry, you have to go right, right? We've all seen the marketing tech landscape. Raise your hand if you've seen the mark tech landscape slide, right? Anybody know the latest number of companies out there in MarTech? 7,000, right? We're all doing the same things. And so even if I start a new company tomorrow, and even if I do create the best thing on planet Earth, nobody's going to believe that because they're going to think, oh, this is just some guy, Dave. He's going to tell me his product is great, right? So the best thing that you can do as a company is find a way to compete on a different channel. So if everybody in your world is doing podcasts, don't do a podcast. Do in-person events, right? If everybody in your world is doing advertising, are you going to spend all your marketing budget just to try to outbid them and be the second term when somebody searches on Google? No. The best way you can get attention in marketing is to stack the deck. And all that means is do a quick audit. Look at the companies and competitors in your industry. Find out where they are and how they're spending your time, and you can go find the gaps. If I was starting something new tomorrow, a new product, a new channel, I would just go to where people are not today. I know that can be counterintuitive advice in marketing, but you're going to increase the odds that people are going to pay attention to you if you can go where people are not. So those are my 10 things. Those are my 10 commandments for modern marketing. I hope this was helpful. If you got one interesting thing out of this, then it would be a success for me, and I hope everybody has a good rest of the day. Thanks.